In the upper left, in the green, winning our previous game.
KT roster first.
And in the bottom center, in the red.
Yo Flash Whoops PartinG.
All right. I really like PvP. It's a good matchup. A lot of mind games involved, a lot of risk-taking involved, but definitely a fun one. And look at that. That is a very quick gateway from first, an 11 gate to start out with here.
Interesting.
Probably going to be a 3-gate play, if I had to guess. But I mean, there's some other builds you can go with this. Like I mean, for instance, he is on KT now, which means he's teammates with Zest, and 11-gate Phoenix is an old build that Zest is very good at. But I don't know if you really want to do that in merry-go-round. Could be though. I mean, I guess we'll just wait and see. He will be kind of the aggressor here, though, it looks like. In one way or another.
I'm super excited for our next match, because whether it's first or PartinG, it should be
That's gonna
awesome
be a really
PvP.
great
That's
match.
going to be a lot of
Yeah.
fun to see.
Absolutely agreed on that. So far, this lines up with the Stargate play, but maybe he's not adding his probes quite quick enough. It was quite a quicker Cybernex score here for first. Nice quick scout, though, from PartinG. This is actually going to tell him, like, that this was an 11-gate. He'll be able to know just by clicking on the core.
So we're still waiting to see what the techs are going to be for these two players. Ro32, how was... it's been a little bit of time since I've seen you. What did you do on your time off? Just recover?
Well, you know, basically when I was sick, I didn't do anything. I laid in bed and played that SimCity game for iPad. And, like, just laid there and slept and stuff. And I've still been sleeping a lot, but I feel, like, so good now. But, I mean, I guess a couple days ago I went to this indoor, like, water park and stuff. It was really fun.
Oh, indoor water park, man.
Yeah, really fun.
Now, you have a kid now, so I'm curious. By the way, we've got Twilight.
Yeah, that's a very quick Twilight, so... Okay, so that's
do you feel like, because since you have a kid now,
Yeah.
do you feel like water parks are dangerous?
No.
You ever been to a water park and been like, this place is just...
This is the first time I've ever been to a water park, but I did not feel like it was dangerous.
Oh, you didn't go to a water park as a kid growing up?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, we have a Stargate here.
Yeah, look at this.
Coming
This
up.
is like a really super quick blink against Stargate. Should probably favor first slightly, but you know, like if an Oracle flies in and he skips his mothership core, which is definitely a possibility, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But actually, oh, it's a DT tech. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. But no, I don't think water parks are. At least this one I went to did not feel dangerous whatsoever.
I don't know, man. I used to go to these water parks back when I was living in the States as a kid, man. It was just like I always knew kids getting injured. They go down the slide. I guess kids would go without their parents there. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you probably go down on the rides with your kid.
Yeah, no, I do.
Your daughter's
everything
only
with her.
3, so...
Well, even when she's 14, I'll be doing that too. Especially then.
Can you actually go on roller coasters? Are you one of those people that...
I love roller coasters.
Yeah, I love roller coasters.
They're so fun. But not rides that spin.
Oh, same for me, actually.
I get really sick.
We could actually go to an amusement park together.
My motion sickness is terrible. I don't like going in a taxi ride. But anyways, we do have like a very strong pressure here.
This is really smart here because it looks as if it's a 3-gate hard pressure build, and it sort of is, except that the follow-up is DTs.
Yeah.
And we have a void rate being made.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That means that this rush that is happening from first here, it's basically already worked.
Yeah, his Oracle is across the map right now, so he doesn't even know about the Dark Shrine still. So we're going to see like a ton of probes get killed here, it looks like. He's even going to kill a Stalker there, but this DT is going to be met with no resistance whatsoever.
Oh my God! Yeah, he just has no idea at all. He probably thinks
he's killing a lot of probes.
Uh-oh!
Wait till you see this.
Is he gonna get this walled off? Nope.
And
so now he
that
starts
right there is about as bad as it can be. That is a lot of damage right there, folks.
Being chrono boosted out, and there's another attack coming up here. Now notice he's going for the probes here.
Yeah.
He's not going to win the fight.
He wants to have the probe lead here. Thing is, neither one of these guys is getting anything like Blink, so just pure unit number is very important here.
Okay, and it should be detected now. Okay, that's exactly what he wants to do. Just get as many more kills.
Yeah,
it's going to be too tough to avoid, all that.
17 probes to 10 is what we ended up with there. So the thing is, we have a way better army for parting, but he has to make something happen with that right away. And he has to keep one of these at home because a second DT would just kill him. So that means he has one Oracle to work with. First knows that. He's going to have plenty of Stalkers at home. I don't foresee him being able to really get much damage.
PartinG comes in here again.
Yeah.
And is shut down.
That was just not enough. It would have been better to suicide there, but I mean, that's a 5-probe lead. He has to be pretty reasonably happy with that.
Well, especially when you get it like a small probe lead in a game like this where there's at least enough tech done, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's bigger than you'd think because there's a lot of different ways that he can take this game, a lot of different unit comps he can make, and the player who's behind on those probes has to keep making probes.
Yeah.
So no matter what decision the player that's behind those probes, no matter what call he makes in the game, he's just going to get there later.
Well, this is kind of going as you would expect from what these guys started with, right? Blink for first, and we're going into a robo here for parting. So I think this game might actually end up normalizing at one point. We'll see.
Oh, he's got to be careful. You really can't afford to lose any more Oracles.
Ooh, just barely gets out of there.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
if he lost that, that would be just terrible.
Right, robotics facility nearly done here for parting.
That was even quite a risk for parting, I want to say. That was his only detection, is that one Oracle. He started a robo and sent it after he got the pylon. And I think he saw that a DT was warping in, but he canceled the warp in because of killing the pylon. So, kind of like a high-level mind game type thing. He's like, oh yeah, okay, you were going to make a DT, you're not going to make one at home and send it across. That's so slow.
All right, well, the Oracle's coming around now. Meanwhile, we have the Nexus starting here for parting.
Right behind for first.
And I think you might be right, Artosis. This is a game that could just normalize.
Yeah, it really does look like it.
Both the guys had strategies that were pretty strong, but the problem is the strategies worked for both players.
Yeah. It got us into a funky position. Definitely a lead for first, but with the different tech routes, there's different ways that you can kind of fight back. Like, if you look at the actual units that are out there, I prefer the units that parting has. But Blink looks pretty tantalizing right now as well, doesn't it?
Well, it always does when you're sort of low econ.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what unit can you utilize better than a few Stalkers with Blink?
Nothing.
If you're really going to micro, I think basically
maybe an
nothing.
Oracle.
Yeah, maybe an Oracle, but that's pretty much nothing else. So
yeah.
We see first now coming down across the map. parting is in a very nice defensive position here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get very much done here, to be honest. Like, forces a Nexus cannon, sees no probes. Kind of, wow, he stayed there a little bit longer than I thought he would, but it worked out just fine. Got to check the probe count and everything. He realizes that they are very neck and neck still. And parting actually immediately starts a forge. That's always like the mindset teller right there, is like when the players start the forge, because the forge in PvP is all about like safety. It's like, okay, no one's killing anyone, forge immediately. That's like
this is so true.
That's the only question you have to ask. Is he going to be able to kill me right now? Am I going to be able to kill him right now? No and no. Forge.
Forge this.
Yeah. Forge it and forget about it.
Oh, Artosis, you are no longer sick.
No,
Your true form is back
my
now.
true form.
Yeah. Well, they're both getting the +1 attack. And we have a very late Twilight Council now for parting, since he did get that Stargate tech early on.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to go into Storm Drop. I do wonder, because that's like...
Sometimes when you have two Protosses turtling hard, Storm Drop is the easiest way to punish that.
Yeah, sometimes. Like, this map I wouldn't say is the best, because like there's not a lot of dead space. In fact, no dead space really behind the main or natural, but Storm Drop is one of the best ways to come back into a PvP, because every time you Storm Drop, you're getting like 10 probes.
The only problem...
If they don't see it coming, like literally see it coming, you get 10 probes.
Yeah, the only problem is if you don't do any damage with the Storm Drop, you definitely lost because they definitely got a third base up. They definitely have more meat.
They'll have a Colossus lead almost every time.
Absolutely. And so it's not a bad move, but it is a strategy. It is a style of play that really hinges on this one moment they're not on top of their game.
Exactly.
And you are perfect at that drop.
Yeah. It's not the hardest thing to execute, but it looks like that's not the case. It's not what he's going for. PartinG's actually grabbing charge right away, which is kind of cool. Because you don't see like quick charge very much anymore. People are a little bit slower on it. So he's going straight into just a regular Archon Immortal charge lot composition, whereas we have the Colossus tech coming up for first. Everything looking like really, really... It has normalized, like we were talking about. There's nothing too weird here at all.
Seems like PartinG really wants to power up here. Ez does first, but they're doing it in slightly different directions with the unit comps they're getting.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you're in...
Oh, man.
When the game gets a little bit down and dirty and weird like this, if you like try to take a third Nexus and you don't know where you're at against your opponent, then you're probably dead. Because you have to know
seen this happen
exactly
a lot
where you're at.
In PvP, there was a period earlier on in StarCraft II where people were taking quicker thirds. And it's basically been solved in the sense that, well, why don't you just get every other tech and all the gateways you need and then expand pretty late, because to expand any sooner, if they're just powering up, you just get punished.
Yeah.
So that's why you see nowadays a lot of PvP, they just sit on two bases really. It's like pumping iron, man. They're just really getting more a beefier and beefier army, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just taking a very conservative third base.
Well, look at PartinG's third timing here. It's kind of like you said, right? He added a bunch of tech. He's got his upgrades going, added gateways, and then he's like, okay, now I'll take this third. You absolutely can't kill me. And he's right. He cannot be killed. But he's skipping the Colossus tech. And when you skip that Colossus tech, you want an engagement. Because, like, if you both hit the max, your army becomes more like roaches, you know?
Yeah.
Like Colossus, like, disrespects a maxed army. So
disrespects.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to word this, but like you definitely.
Do we have a storm drop together?
No, I believe he actually feedbacked the Oracle.
Okay.
I believe that's what occurred there.
Okay.
I was confused by the shards on the ground. That's my guess. But we'll see here. I mean, I think that if First sits back, takes a defensive third base pretty shortly here, he should be in a good spot, but that's a scary army from PartinG right now.
All right, well, the Stalkers here for first make it a little bit tricky. He can always blink away. That's going to make PartinG a bit more uncomfortable to leave and go all the way across the map. Since the Stalkers are so fast, they can just get up in there and start taking out units in his base. It's also the right number of Stalkers to use for a potential counterattack. It's not too many.
Yeah,
but it's not too
you're
little
quite
either.
Right about that. He's actually, I really like his activity on the map with them. He's kind of holding him back. He's kind of prodding, checking exactly what the composition is. It's allowing him to get his third base up. Look at this. He's going to try to get that War Prism. Really important to try to feed back. I mean, not the War Prism, but the Mothership Core. If you can get that, that's huge.
Okay, here we go now. Time Warp down there. Not the best. First does avoid it. Now he's coming up here. The scary thing for First is really the Archons there, because that's going to completely obliterate this. Did he pick up the Immortals? I believe he did.
Have.
No, wait, maybe he didn't.
Ooh, that was a pretty good time warp. I don't know if he can actually attack up this ramp,
If he did pick up the Immortals, he could drop them back over there to the sides and try to hit those Colossi. So far, though, this engagement not going too well for him. And yes, he did pick up those Immortals. And he's actually, you can see the Stalkers are actually gunning down the Warp Prism, but it's fine. There's still another pylon over here. The question is, can these Immortals actually get to the Colossus? They do!
Well, he just warped in around his Zealots as well. They were a little bit slow in the uptake, though. It looks like I think that First is going to be able to hold this.
I can't believe that we had this many Immortals. They just were not quite targeted on the Colossi. The Zealots didn't come out quick enough. The Immortals just took a little bit too much damage.
I'd actually quite like to see what First's army hotkeys are, because he actually controlled his Colossus very well. Like when the rest of his army was retreating, they were still shooting.
Artosis and I have talked about a lot, but not as much in casts, is just how people are actually setting up their hotkeys.
Yeah. It's a very interesting subject.
Because, I mean, there's obviously so many different ways to do it. There are some ways that are definitively better than others. But you can really see the difference in somebody's hotkey setup based on how a battle starts to go down, on what units are kiting and how everything's being executed.
Like, first defense there was pretty much perfect. PartinG tried his ass off to get a real engagement there.
Yeah.
And first didn't let him get it how he wanted it, because, like, on open ground, PartinG's army would have won. But first held and kept all his Colossus alive. So, like, I definitely like the position at first. I don't like him attacking right here. I think he needs to wait a little bit. Because there's, like, still a very scary mass of units for PartinG, but having 4 Colossus right now is... I think PartinG should be able to kill it, though. That's a huge flank. He needs
here
a
we go. Yeah, the surround here is just too good. The angle, and the Immortals now doing the damage that could not have been done earlier because of the way this their position here on the map. In fact, he just needs to get those Immortals a little bit further in there and start shooting down those Colossi, and that is it.
Yeah, that's really too bad. If he had waited...
Did you see that?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a micro machine, and he just drops it out and dies anyways.
If first had waited, like, 30 supply more, his army would have been better. But he actually went out, got into a position where PartinG could swarm him and have the surface area and have the concave. And, like, the Archon Immortal charge lot is a fantastic composition, but on open ground before max, that's when it's really powerful. And he gave him that. He gave him exactly what he needed as far as the fight went.
It's kind of funny. Oh, my God. It's funny because, you know, it goes to show you can't just get a lead. You got to keep it.
Well, PartinG has to be pretty happy with how this game has gone now. At this point, his army should be good enough that he can just walk around and control everything.
Yeah.
It's obviously much more mobile, and with the Colossus count so reduced, how do you fight this?
Also, I like the fact that he just focus fired the Nexus. He knows that back in first base, he was very good at defending, really good at utilizing the map. So he says, okay, I'll just take some damage here. I'll shut down the third.
Yeah. He's like, hey, here's some more damage on you. I'm getting further ahead.
Yeah.
It's like, eventually he'll just go in and kill him. That will occur.
Now, what he can do over here is this going to draw Colossus fire, and he can actually drop these zealots elsewhere to make this whole attack less effective. Got to be careful, because when you have 4 Archons like this, I mean, the zealots die so fast.
Very, very true.
It's almost comical. Okay, so this is even scarier. Now, this army is effective. The Zealot Archon army, obviously there's a few additional units there, but it's effective because it's powerful, cost-efficient. You can make this stuff immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
It just immediately comes out. It's not like you have to wait for the right unit to come.
It's really working out for him in that regard.
Now, notice this. This is really nice. That drop there allowed him to get a better arc. The better arc is probably going to allow him to win this game.
Yeah, well, I would say also, you know, he still has quite a few Immortals, quite a few Archons here.
Sure.
First doing like a pretty good job of holding on, but it's simply not enough. He lost all of his Colossi down at that kind of like, I guess what would be PartinG's 4th or 5th base, and like that was always going to be a PartinG win from there. GG indeed. That was actually quite a nice game. Like, I think first played really fantastically. I think PartinG like kept trying to force the issue, and when he forced it at the bottom of the ramp of first base of his natural, like first realized he's like, oh, I have a lead now. But with that lead, he wasn't supposed to attack. With that lead, he was supposed to macro more and then attack. And if he had done that, he absolutely would have won, because PartinG's army never would have held up if they were closer to max, because it was, he had like an extra 30 supply in Zealots or something. And as you hit the max against what would have been 5 or 6 Colossus, easy, easy win for first. But PartinG takes it. Very good.
PartinG very tenacious in that game, too.
Yeah.
When that initial attack didn't work out, you know, I thought, well, there you go. First is not going to make any mistakes, but he did. And PartinG's follow-up attack was just too strong, man.
Yeah, it certainly was.
We're going to go to a quick little break. When we come back, and I'm really excited for this match, it's going to be Maro against PartinG, so don't go away.